in 2007, I'd been out of school for a while already, and had been kind of, I wouldn't say kind of trying to figure out my career path. Not really enjoying it. I was appreciating the experience I had, but never feeling fulfilled. And I was on a camping trip with my wife and some friends, and found out that there was a company that did energy efficiency stuff, totally helped organizations better use energy. And I was like, that sounds perfect. And I've been kind of like dabbling on it on the side, but I didn't know you could actually do that as a job. Like that was a career you could actually get into. I reached out to that company. In this case, there's a company that doesn't exist anymore called Ecos. They're now, they've been bought by a few companies, but I think ClearResult owns most of them, as I understand it. But I basically found this guy, Jeff Wicks. Maybe if you've been around for a while, you may remember him, and reached out to him and to express my interest. He forwarded me to the recruiter. They looked at my resume. While they were going through that process, I was hoping to get an interview. Went on a vacation. This is a picture from I took my wife and I went down to Peru. We were backpacking in the Andes. I took a fly rod with me, caught that tiny little fish, but hoping to come back and be ready to start a new career. Came back and got the news that they had taken a pass on me, and they said, "Thanks anyways. Best of luck." And so with that, we'll pause this story. We're going to keep on going in the presentation, and we'll wrap it up at the end. So why are we here? Why are we talking about this? The topic of better workshops. So yeah, a few things. We have found that the SEM Summit identified, the people that attended that, there were a number of tracks, a lot of things were covered. A big shout out to so many folks on this call here that played important roles to make it a very successful and engaging event. Thank you all for that hard work. But one of the key takeaways was that we do need to have better SEM workshops and webinars, so in-person workshops, virtual workshops or webinars. But elevating them overall, elevating our skills is going to make it all better in many ways. I hear it all the time, talking to SEM program administrators, that we've got to make recruiting better. And the best way to get recruiting to be better is having organizations come to us, and having them come to us because their peers at other organizations are touting their SEM programs, that they are wildly surprised by how effective they are, how meaningful the impacts are for them and their organizations. With that, kind of going to the bottom left here, our efforts, I like to think that our SEM work is not competing against other energy programs. It's competing against other organizational initiatives writ large. So with that, the most impactful types of priorities that they have, the most impactful initiatives, we've got to compete against that. And we've got to compete for the mind share. We've got to compete for the value that it provides from the C-suite all the way down, to all the occupants. And we've got to get them all, as many folks as possible, all preaching the benefits of our programs. And so with that, you have to raise the bar. So that brings us to our first little mini activity. I'd like you've got 60 seconds, 30 seconds to find a piece of paper and a pen. Could be in a sticky note form. That'd be ideal. And you get 30 seconds to draw an emoji or some other kind of image that about your presentation abilities. So I've got a sticky, of course, because I'm a geek for this kind of stuff. All right. Okay. We're getting close. Once you've wrapped up your image, can you please hold it up? You'll have to have your cam on to make this work. So put your cam on if you don't have it on. Hold your image up to the camera.
Also a reminder for myself to unblur my background. It makes it easier.
Oh yeah, is that okay? Yeah, right. Your blurred background. Yeah, Pam, we couldn't see yours. Tom, Or when
I'm cheating.
sort of. Greg, we can see. Oh, look at that. Happy sun or happy face with the hair. Tina, see the eyeballs, the googly eyes, maybe? Is that it? You're like, uh-oh. Laura Schaefer. I need my glasses at the same time.
It's supposed to be a little graph.
What is it?
A little graph.
A graph. Nice, nice.
A blurred background situation. That's a problem.
Dinah, cup of coffee. Yeah. Michael socks. Is that a person sleeping while you're presenting? Michael, nice job. That is a great, great one. Maybe the best. Chris, can you hold yours up a little higher? Oh, yeah. Down with kilowatt hours. Nice. Pam, funny face. Emily, making everybody laugh. Kim, is that dancing? Like vibration? Muted.
It's actually like taking an energy from the big picture, taking an energy, grounding energy from the earth, and shooting it all out in waves into the room.
Wow. That's amazing.
I can't draw that.
Mine is a face, like basically a bunch of stuff coming out, a bunch of noise, I think. It's a maybe unstructured, I'll say. Like a lot of stuff. Can I better control it? Okay, this is great. Actually, wait, sorry, Bill Miller.
Trying to do an embrace.
It's a what?
An embrace, a person
An
standing
embrace.
with their arms outstretched, embracing.
Nice, nice. I like it. Robert Muldoon. Just a not a happy nor sad.
Neither happy nor sad.
That's great. Well, I appreciate folks sharing first their horror stories and/or presentation successes at the beginning, and then now doing an emoji to get going. We'll be doing some other things to engage you here momentarily. So we're going to dive in on some concepts. I've combed through years of training on this stuff. I didn't spend a lot of time on talking about how to make great slides. There's a ton of stuff out there, and we've talked about it before in other presentations before. So let's get into some things that are not related to that. First, nonverbals. All right, so let's see a little better. All right, 3 things: hand gestures, proper eye contact, and movement. So hand gestures. So basically the idea here is using hand gestures to illustrate a point, right? So you can see I'm doing them on a cam right now. So I'm doing them in a funny way because I'm holding my hands up like this. You can see them. If I was in a large room, I'm going to back away. You could actually use your hands, be large with them, illustrate something, tie something together. We're talking about coming together as a collective, working together on something. The hand gestures can reinforce. You don't want to be like too erratic and too many hand gestures. Many politicians are famous for overdoing it or using their go-to hand gestures all the time, and it kind of takes away from it. So you really need to kind of imagine building out a library of hand gestures that you can use in different situations. So we've got our cams on. I'm going to throw out a few curveballs to folks. I'm going to see what you guys come up with. Hand gestures. You need to be able to look at your cam and see what your hands are doing. That way you can, if you're doing it down here and I can't see them. So here's a few things. If I were to say a hand gesture for a 3-step process. 3-step process. Yeah, nice work. You guys are doing great. Oh, Kim, I like Kim's thing. She does the slow build out. Nice work, nice work.
Kim's responses are so deep.
I know. She's like, there's like layers of subtlety to it and nuance. So great. Okay, next one. Contrasting several options. This is a tough one. Oh, nice, Pam. Yeah, okay, Laura. Laura. Who else? Yeah, Kim. Yeah, Kim. Yeah, so down to the right. What else do we have? Anyone else? Yeah, Robert. I like it. All right. Next one. We're working in collaboration with other teams. Oh, yeah. Oh, Art. Robert. Yeah, a little thing. Okay, yeah. Kim with the folded fingers. Michelle. Nice work. Yeah, Taylor. Yeah, that's a good one. The shaking hands, Emily. All right. Next one is we're planning 6 months out from now. Tom put the thing out. Yeah, Greg kind of spread the time out. Yeah, 6 months out. You could do like pop, right? Nice. Last one. We're looking at global trends. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of a right. The way Tina did it too is like kind of like almost like a head exploding as you did it. You can practice these in front of a mirror. These are great. And you're all being brave again for trying these out. Nice work. So
Hey, Chad.
those are all. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to comment that there are some hand gestures that are bad or aggressive. Like the pointing thing that you see politicians doing is generally seen as accusatory. Unless you're calling on somebody, then it should be a nicer finger point.
That's great. It's a great point.
Yes, Pat, you
And
can
actually,
use an open
as you said,
hand.
I go, yeah, like this, and I pointed. But to your point, I guess there's a difference between saying that's a good point and being like da 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 and this and pointing out. So I'm kind of backing away so you can see me. Some people do use like their hand, like their thumb, and so kind of pointing with your thumb like this can be seen as a less kind of a dominant or a domineering kind of motion. So if you do find yourself that you like to make gestures, you kind of go to that where you do want to make points like this, try to again watch that. And I would say also definitely get feedback. Go back and try these things out with your organization in the meeting. Everyone, you can pick on Cascade. There's a bunch of Cascade folks here. Awesome. You're all here. Try these things out on each other in a call. But yeah, I would say like trying out the thumb point as an alternative, like to what Pam called out. It's a great call. All right, we got hand gestures. Proper eye contact. So that's two forms. So one is in a call like this. And so where you should have your cam view when you're seeing the people, including I like to see myself, not because I like to stare at myself all day. It is kind of weird seeing yourself all day, looking in a mirror, but it is nice to know what's on camera and what's not. If you're on Teams, sometimes when you shrink or expand the view, you can, like if my hand's really doing like this on Zoom call, that could get chopped off in Teams and you don't know it. You might not know it, what the people see versus what you see. Do you understand? So just being aware of the platform and Teams, I would say keeping your hand gestures or whatever the kind of things are going on, keeping them very much in the center of the camera versus in Zoom, you can see what's going on. Anyway, so back to the cams, keeping them as close to your camera. So I'm watching all of your eyes. I want you all looking, pretend like you're making eye contact with me on the cams. So ideally, if your camera, my camera is right above where all of you are. And so that makes it, hopefully, to me to feel like I'm looking at you in a not creepy way. Like I'm not trying to creep you out, whoever. Oh, nice to see you, Shelly. Hello. So yeah, so turn on your cams. I want you looking at me. And while you're looking at me, or pretend like you're looking at anyone, that doesn't, then maybe move your cams up or move your camera over. If you're on a laptop, you've got one cam, you can't move it. So then move, again, the camera view to make sure it is like set as close as possible because it's really going to give that feel. All right, this is a quick real-time tip right now. Nice, I can see people doing it. This is perfect. This is going to make your discussions with them for a big presentation or any call you're on with these folks, with whoever they are, internal folks, whatever it is, it's going to make it more impactful. All right, so that's virtual. In person, I kind of call out the thing here. We're trying to balance being creepy, looking at them too much and looking away and looking too fast, making eye contact. Everyone says when you take presentation training, you should make eye contact. And you're like, okay. And so you're just like hammering through a bunch of people really fast. And it's actually maybe even worse than no eye contact at all. So really what you want to do is around 3 seconds per person. That seems like a long time when you're doing it. And I know it does until you get used to it. So we're going to do a quick exercise. I'm going to have a few of you hold your hands up. I'm going to call on you. So let's see, Emily, can you put your hand up like this? Emily Lang. Let's see, Robert, can you, Muldoon, put your hand up also? And Michelle Keller, hold your hand up, please. So 3 of you. So if we're all in the same room, right? All of you, keep your hand up, sorry, Robert. Thanks. Then we would practice this. I'd have a few people with their hands up, and I'm making eye contact, and I will start doing my presentation. And I'll say I start at Emily, and And so that's why, and so I'll start presenting. When Emily knows, and when I start looking at Emily, once she'll start clocking in her head, she'll say 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Once she hits 3, 1,000, she lowers her hand. If I look away before she gets to 3, 1,000, she keeps her hand up. And so then I'm like, good, I looked away too fast. So I'll try it. So I'm gonna call on, I'll do it in that order. So okay, Emily, I'm starting with you. So then I'm doing this presentation and I'm presenting about presentation skills. And it's very important that we do these things and so on and so forth. Okay, now her hand went down. Now I'm going to Robert. And so now I've shifted my eyes. I'm now looking at Robert's cam. So I'm now talking about these things. And now I'm going to Michelle. So then we do find overall, these are very effective techniques. And that's why, yeah, until I got Michelle to lower her hand. So you could do that in an in-person room. Again, put the entire group, if you're meeting with 8 people, have all their hands go up, and then you work on pop, 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 hitting each one of them in succession. 3 seconds. You could even do 4 seconds. Any more than that, it gets a little creepy. Any less than that, you're looking nervous, right?
I've also heard that you can look just right above people's heads and then it appears like you're making eye contact if you're too nervous to do direct contact with people.
For sure. Yeah, there's a bunch of things you could do. Yeah, but I guess one thing I would say is that anyone that's watching you present, nobody wants you to fail. They all want you to succeed. So they're all pulling for you. I would kind of turn it around and make it less about you and more about them and their experience and what you're trying to engage them to learn. You have an objective of what you're trying to get across to them. And so focus on them, focus on, Greg Baker. Greg Baker has got to become a better presenter. And so I'm focused on Greg and making sure that he gets out of this what he can get. I'm picking on Greg because Greg is such a great sport. But you know what I'm saying? So yeah, kind of flip it around. That's like, but yeah, Emily, it's a great point. And again, there's a bunch of ways you could think about it to kind of make yourselves more comfortable and make that eye contact. But just practicing it. Honestly, that's probably one of the best things. Last thing is movement. So hard to do on cams, obviously. But if in a room that doesn't have a podium, if you're tied to the podium with a microphone, large room, maybe you don't have the ability to do this. But if you do have a space, a lot of our SEM workshops are in rooms that don't require you to be at a podium. I would say, so if you so to envision where you want to land. So you say, okay, well, I'm gonna do most of my presentations, most of my presenting at this one spot. Then take 2 steps back. And then as you're getting introduced, so then Kim Crossan introduces me, and I say, thank you, Kim. I'd like to thank everyone for your attendance here today. It means a lot. This is a very important meeting we have here today, and it's really, really something. So taking those 2 steps forward as you kick things off, just kind of really shows you're there. You're kind of gets them moving. That's why when you see a TED Talk, you never see the back of someone, right? They're never walking away from the audience. They're always going to walk from the back corner towards the front to engage you as they get going. The other thing they'll do is they will often not stand there the entire, whatever it is, 17, 18 minutes that they do for a TED Talk. They'll actually move. So they'll maybe walking in and making some kind of remark. They plant there at that one spot. And then they'll rehearse exactly where they're going to be going and how they're going to do this. But then they'll say, okay, then as they're making their next point, they'll walk, and now I'm walking in slow motion because I don't want to lose you on the cam. But then they'll pause, turn perhaps, and then make some more points. And then maybe talk there for a moment, and then go to the next transition, and this transition to the next point we're going to be making, and then plant. And then while you're doing that, you land at the next spot. You can make your eye contact with those people in that area as you're hitting those points. Got it? Okay, so those are the key things. I'm going to share this whole deck with everybody so you can get these ideas and work on them. All right, next up is the verbal techniques. If you've been to Toastmasters, you're probably already there. Or if you know about Toastmasters, or a friend's gone to it, or you've gotten feedback from your boss or from anyone, they're probably giving you this kind of feedback. The main probably new things, I didn't want to leave these things out. So especially the first and the third one, like varying your delivery. So notice I just lifted my voice up a little bit. You can also lower it down. Doing those kinds of things can be impactful. You can speed up and slow down as much as is appropriate. Eliminating the filler words on the third point there, very important because they take away from what you're trying to get across. But the last point there in the middle, I'll say, is the pauses. So just being smart. We talked about kind of making a few points and knowing, maybe you say, okay, I'm going to vary some pauses. I'm going to make a sentence. I'm going to pause, make a couple other sentences about what we're trying to do here, and that this is a very important work. Pause, and then go on. But using the pauses to kind of emphasize that last point that you just made, to really emphasize it, underscore it, versus just trying to get through with the thing and you got to keep on talking. And I got the slides, I got to get through it, keep on talking. Just slow it down. Less is more. Taking the time to really to underscore and emphasize key points. Pauses. All right. Next up, I love talking to you all because, first of all, I just love this work. It's so great, y'all. I mean, the work we do. Sorry, this is a quick aside. This is totally unrehearsed. I'm just gonna say, knowing people that do work where their customers like don't want to be there, or they really like hate it, or they have to do it because of some kind of regulation or whatever the situation is. Most of the folks we work with, like, really appreciate the work we're doing, and it's meaningful and it's great. So, anyways, just want to shout out our industry. All right, so we with the verbals. Okay, content. So I'm going to show you something really fast. This is feedback that I got from David Goldstein after I botched the presentation in Ireland. I had this deck. I prepared it for months. I had input from Energy Trust of Oregon, BPA, Northwest Power Council, NEA, this like thing talking about the Northwest story, and I presented it in Ireland at this conference. And we were short for time, and then I had some great stories, but then it really made me compress the rest of my presentation. And basically, then I was just like firing through really fast, and it definitely took away from our presentation. Afterwards, David Goldstein, who was a longtime NRDC person, amazing person, gave me some feedback. And he said, basically, be prepared to distill your presentation, whatever it was, into 5 minutes. Be ready to throw it all the way and just say, okay, what's the most important thing I've got to get across? And be able to say that. Skip all the way to the end, or skip to one slide. Say, you know what? We're running short for time. It's no big deal. The main thing I need you to get to know is this. That's it. That's the takeaway. Know this one thing. So be prepared. Your people are there to see you. They're there to get your message, to get your thing, not to see you deliver slides. The slides are not the boss. You're the boss. Be ready to throw it all out and distill it into 5 minutes. Next, don't show a slide, but draw it. So I often get questions that I have to answer many times, or I've answered many times over the years, and I've somewhat kind of memorized what my responses are. So if someone's asked me, what does savings look like over time in an SEM program, like for multiple years? I say, well, I know Energy Trust did a little study of this, and from what I recall, is the first year savings is this much. The second year savings is a little more. Third year savings is around the same. Fourth year savings, someone goes like this. This is for a multi-year SEM program, commercial sector. Kathleen Belkite, thank you so much. This is Energy Trust, and again, this is no one claims savings from this. Like, no one. This is Chad drawing a picture. No scale. I'm not like pulling up the exact source data. I'm more just illustrating kind of the flow of savings. And so I draw that for them, and they go, oh, okay, they totally get it. It's much more impactful than me saying, well, I've got a slide for that. Let me show you the slide. By kind of creating something with them, it pulls them in. Another one I've drawn many times. If you've been around me for long enough, you've seen this one. Geez, my thing is running out of ink. Sorry, everybody. So 2x2 matrix. And let's see. Yes, no, no, yes. This is common sense, yes or no. This is systems, like management systems or processes and systems, yes or no. If you've got, this is basically for organization. So an organization without systems or common sense is chaos. CHOAOS, chaos. An organization with no systems and lots of common sense is a startup, SU. So organizations usually start there. They've got a lot of common sense, but to get off the ground, it's a church, it's a small startup organization, whatever it is to get going, they got to have it has to make sense in some kind of way. An organization that has lots of systems, that has more systems and still retains its common sense is a high performer, HP. Gosh, this marker is not helping me out. And then lastly, if you've lost your common sense, if you will, in your organization, but have lots of systems, you're a bureaucracy. So the idea of this diagram came from Andy Bell, former longtime CEO of Intel. And he basically said, yeah, organizations start here. They want to put systems in place to become a better company without losing their way and losing the common sense that made them great in the first place and veering into bureaucracy. So when I've talked to CEOs before about getting them to enroll in an SEM program, especially if it's a CEO, right, that really cares about all kinds of things, not just energy, then I'll draw this and I'll say, this is a lot of what your job is, CEO, president. You're trying to build a better company. And energy is no different. Energy should support that. It should not take away. And that's what we're trying, this is the spirit of what we're trying to do. So my point is, by drawing this for you versus just showing it to you, you're all a part of it with me. We're all doing it together. You can do other ways to do this as well. Draw on a flip chart in front of every room. You can take active notes if people are giving feedback on things that we could do better, or their insights on something, let them write it on there, or you write it. Like taking visual notes for people, that shows, again, you're involved in like actively listening, actually transcribing their notes as they say them. Yeah, have a few of these. I've got other ones that I've used over time as well, but I'm sure you all do too. You know what? You've got your piece of paper. We're going to slow down for a second. I'm going to ask folks, if you've got a go-to diagram you've drawn many times, write it on that piece of paper. And then hold up the cam and I'll ask you to share what it is, unless it's totally obvious. I'll describe one more while your folks are drawing. There's one I did. Kim and I was in a presentation with Kim Crossman's team at Energy Trust, and it was when SEM was pretty new. And so I was trying to explain it to a mixed group of folks. It was a lot of participants. And so basically I drew a diagram. God, really? I'm gonna do a piece of paper. I drew a diagram, concentric circles, and I said, okay, energy is used at the equipment level, right? So this is this circle here. That's where the energy is used, that's where it's saved. Then you've got like process, so like how it's being used and how it's maintained. And then I had this diagram this is behaviors. This is like things that are kind of more indirectly impacting this, but like maybe through the process. This is kind of like the people level purely, versus this kind of the process side is kind of the hybrid, or the in between the people and the equipment. Again, it kind of helped them at the time. Is it, it's going to help people to kind of get it, what we're talking about. Okay, Chris, what do we got? What is this diagram? Chris Paulo. If you can unmute yourself.
That's refrigeration cycle.
Oh, okay. Refrigeration cycle. Nice. Nice. That's great. Being able to draw that. Okay. Oh, that's good. It's great. I'm missing anyone's cams that's sharing something. Oh, sorry. Robert, can you show that again?
I need to unblur. Give me a second.
No problem. Maybe Tina, you can show yours while he's. Oh, wait. Okay, Robert, what is that?
Just a standard pie chart of energy use in a building.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Greg, what do we got there? Greg Baker. Oh, sorry, Tina, went out of order. Greg, go ahead.
We have continual versus continuous improvement.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So kind of like, yeah, I get it. Nice.
You don't have to say it every year. You can just keep on.
Yeah, by drawing that diagram in front of them when you're explaining the concept, it engages them, makes them a part of it. Tina, can you show yours real quick, or describe yours?
Oh, it's too small. But QSUM with different colors.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Pam Burkle. What does that say? Unmute. Sorry. Still can't hear you. If you're muted apparently. I know this is like kind of walking and chewing gums. You got to unmute and do the thing.
This is a pie chart to show that when you have a piece of equipment, the initial cost is X. Everybody thinks that's the most expensive part of your investment. The maintenance is another cost, but the big cost in many systems is the energy costs over the life cycle of the equipment.
That's great. That's great. Nice. Okay, let me show you one quick trick. So you've seen this, but you may not know what you can do with it. So you go in PowerPoint, you get the normal view, which is where we all live. Go to the slide sorter view. You can see what's coming up in the future slides here. And so at this view, you should be able to read the text as you look at it. So if it's smaller, if you can't read it, it's going to be too small on the screen. That's just a quick rule of thumb. Second, you can kind of get an idea of the flow of the presentation. So when we talked before about imagining what's the one slide you would keep if you had to cut everything else, if you only had a minute or 2 or 5, where you would gravitate towards and what you would say. And then lastly, when you're kind of designing the slides, think about the impact of them. And so if you've got a ton of content on them, if it's going to feel overwhelming, then, back to the content here, using that 7-second rule, how do you feel? If you interact with a slide for 7 seconds, you like kind of take it in, then go to the next slide. How much do you recall out of that slide? How much did that make you feel? Was it overwhelming? Was it clear? Did you get what it was trying to say? And it was supportive, right, of what you're trying to get across, or was it not helpful? It actually even kind of hurt.
Can I ask?
So the slide sorters can really strong. Go ahead, Pam. Oh, sorry, Kim.
It's Kim. But my question is, it seems like a lot of people learn live from human beings, but some people don't. And they really rely on being able to review materials after the fact. And I think many of us who use slides, let's say to support a meeting or something where there aren't full-on materials that go out, we're using them that way. And that's why there's a bunch of stuff on them so that people can review it afterwards, or people who weren't there, or people who learn that way. How do you deal with that in this context? Because this seems like a principle that you're expressing that seems really sound, but what about the need for materials?
Yeah, that is an important one, in a common rub that you're calling out. Kim, and I forget, Kim, your counterpart, when you were the chair of the summer study, was it Bill Hoyt, maybe?
Yes, that's right.
Kim and Bill took a crazy chance and had Kevin Wallace and I co-lead the SEM panel. And I realized, I was like, oh man, we're going to be stuck here and can't leave the entire time. So if the presenters are horrible, we can't get up and walk to the other room. So we have to stay here. So we did a presentation training for folks, and people would often ask, like, how many slides is the right number? And I'd say 0. That's the right number. But you can use some slides and so on. And so to Kim's point, not only do they often are used to kind of like to encapsulate what the meeting was. Like that was the meeting, was the stuff. Some organizations really take that to heart and put everything in the slide, and it basically becomes a Word document, maybe even less attractive than Word, is what they can turn it into. And so I would warn folks to say, should this content be in the PowerPoint slide? Can you actually kind of bifurcate and say, okay, here's the meeting, and then here's the content we need to get across. If you're writing paragraphs of stuff or long lists, that should be in a Word doc. It could be a 2-pager. That could be totally fine. Attach those things together, and you're using the right tool for the job. Yeah, and maybe make the PowerPoint like refer to the document, and if you want more information, boom, go to this thing, and again, that's attached as well. Yeah, cool. That's great. And again, such a common question. And many of you in your organizations may be fighting people in your organization. Not fighting you, I'm saying, but they've got an institutional tradition of putting everything in the slides, and you'll have to say, can we work with other solutions? All right. The last topic, which we've sort of hit before, but we've never done it in a hands-on way, is storytelling. So a few key things to call out. And I'll just say, we talked before about the storytelling is important. People remember stories. They don't remember numbers. The stories are what gets passed around in the halls by directors, by executives, and so on in organizations. And so knowing that that's their currency is stories. And so if you give a good story to that person that's going to champion your program, your energy program within an organization to enroll in that program, if you're helping them become better at engaging, within their organization to expand their SEM efforts, whatever those conversations are, giving them stories is going to be super important, super impactful. Reliving the story, so it should be your story ideally. If not, you can do like I just did with Andy Bell's, the CEO. I just described his thing and I typed it to this guy, and 90% of you have no idea who he was, but it sounded impressive, I guess. But ideally, it's a story of your own. So when I was learning to drive, this is a few decades ago, we had a family Chevy Suburban was our car. And so whenever we drive, my parents, and this gas was a lot cheaper then. So we had a Texaco card and it kept in the glove box. Also in the glove box was a clipboard. And on the clipboard were pieces of paper with tables on them. And basically every time we'd fill up, we'd use the Texaco card, fill the Suburban up, 1 million gallons, I don't know, whatever the capacity was. And then we would write in the odometer reading, what the odometer read, we'd write how many gallons we bought and what the dollars were. And then we cut the receipt, kind of squish that into the top there. Next time we drive, same thing. Just keep on doing that. Receipts get stacked up, entries keep on going down. Maybe go to the next page. Every once in a while, my dad would come along and then he would pull out the papers and then go into his office, I guess, and then he would enter them. This is in the 80s, so I put them like Quattro Pro or some old school spreadsheet. So I got a couple of smiles out of the old folks like me. Okay, thanks, Greg. Put in some old spreadsheet, and I would never hear anything, ever. No idea. Just keep on driving, just doing my thing, and then he would crunch the numbers. I'm not sure. So you guys get the parallel. Your energy people. I'm the equipment operator. He was the accounting department, in which energy was a part of as well. No feedback loop, no feedback at all. No idea if I should be, and I mean, I was 16, so I was lead footing that thing like crazy, just trying to, being dumb. No idea. And he never gave me any feedback. So we all interact with folks now where, or even driving a car now, a Prius, you get real-time feedback. And a Prius off the shelf, out of the lot, what does a Prius get, folks? What's gas mileage they get? Anyone?
45 miles if it's hybrid.
Yeah, really high. There are people, this is for a long time, people like they're really, really, really into it, will drive their Priuses with no shoes, just wearing socks. And they will, they've really learned how to really feather the gas and so on. And they'll get 100 miles an hour, 100 miles a gallon out of a stock Prius, no changes, just by behavioral, operational practices of what they do. Instant feedback, they get the real-time feedback, they can do something with that data versus it going off to some accounting department, in Houston, Texas, where I grew up. So driving example, that's my story. You probably all have stories, something similar when you learn to drive and to wherever vehicle you have now, or you've seen data and so on. I've just given you a story. You can totally use that, or you've got your own. I'm sure, again, half the folks that have a quarter of the gray hair that I do in this call have some kind of gas guzzler stories. But you get the idea. You have stories within you. They're yours, and pull those out and work with them and workshop them and try them out with people and see if they relate to them. Try them in a workshop to get smiles, to get oh, and people nodding their head, or to get a kind of a flat response. That's okay. You tried it, and workshop it some more and try to get to do what you're trying to do. So with that, I think we're 16, 15. Okay, let's do this, Laura. We're riding the fence. We're going to do a quick breakout room. We'll keep the breakout groups large. So we'll do groups of 5. What I want you to do in the breakouts is every one of you to workshop an idea. Just write out an idea of an experience you've had. And then one of you in that group volunteer within your group just to present the story. 90 seconds is what you're shooting for. And if it flames out, that's totally fine. What I want you to do is, let's see, your fellow peers in the group, I want you to think about what you liked in their story and share that with them. What could be better in the story and what could be better in their delivery of the story. Okay. So this is your chance to go off and workshop a story. And then we come back, we'll ask for a few quick highlights. We'll do 5 minutes. 5-minute breakout, groups of 5, everyone for like a minute and a half, everyone will write their stuff out, and then one of you volunteers within your group to share out, and you'll all discuss in this small group. Clear? All right, Laura, get ready to transport everyone.
Yep.
3, 2,
All right, here we go, everyone.
all right. We'll see you back soon. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, we have one room. I don't know, some reason maybe it was thinking about you, but somebody must have left. So we have one room with 3 people. Think that's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had it set to 5 to 6, but a few people
I
left.
can get a few of those after.
Yeah, that's all right. It'll give them time. And it's just got a 15-second countdown when it says it's time to close, so it's pretty quick.
Okay. We had 22 participants now. What's the max we had?
I think we had 36, 35 or 36.
Okay.
Pause here.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Going into the breakouts, a few folks like, oh, I don't know if I could get into this. Who would like to share a cool story they heard? Any volunteers? You don't have to attribute who it was.
Chris had a good one where energy efficiency turned the tide of a high bill issue into a positive story. So I can't see you, Chris, and I forgot your last. Oh, there you go, Paulo. Yeah.
Nice job, Chris. I know, contributing stories and imagery and magic. I think a future workshop, Chris will teach us some. Maybe.
Say that again, Chad. Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, sorry. We said you'll teach us magic in a future workshop.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, you get the idea, everyone. Work on developing a series of stories, and you can use them for different purposes. So again, the concentric circles thing, you can use that for different kinds of situations. That diagram, but having a story attached to that, you can do multiple. You can kind of have like different business objectives you can hit with a given story or a given diagram or so on. So having those stories, kind of a library of stories, just like we have a library of gestures that you can use in different situations. Having a library of stories, it can also be go-to and accomplish different things. I've definitely been a part of organizations where a CEO used the same story to accomplish. They'll, not in the same meeting, but over the course of a few years of working with them, I've seen them use that same story for different situations. Totally great. All right. So what happened? I got told no to keep looking for a job. I really felt in my heart of hearts that this is my job. This is what I should be doing. And so I asked the recruiter if I could reach out to the hiring manager, Jeff Wicks, and the hiring manager's like, it's free country, do what you want, Phil's call you back. So I did, and I kind of put myself in his shoes, and I was like, hey, I think you're trying to do these things. I sent him an email. Some emails are just like, hey, can we meet? I think you're trying to do these things. I really could help in these kinds of ways. I made it as easy as possible for him, so I can meet you, for coffee, lunch, after work beer. I can, do these things. And he realized also that it wasn't going to go away. I kept at him in a very nice way, not too stocky or anything. And he said, okay, come in tomorrow at 5 o'clock after work. I had a full day. I'll be coming at 5 o'clock. We'll meet. I came in. And he said, be prepared to talk about energy efficiency with NGOs. I was like, oh, okay. You know, so then the next 24 hours, I'm just like frantically making up a bunch of stuff and researching things and presented some stuff, but we had a good dialogue. And he said, okay, come back tomorrow and we'll talk some more. So I came back in the next day. By that time, by the time I showed up there, I ran into the recruiter. She's like, oh my God, you're out. Like now you're at the top of the list. Now you've now gone to the top and I've never seen this happen before. And honestly, it's been, again, such an amazing gift to work with all of you in this space. So yeah, I'm just grateful every single day. You all have stories like that too, and believe in yourself, push yourselves. We all have growth mindsets. I'll have my own little quote here at the end, but I do have a slide already prepared to address. Wait, there you are, Kim. Kim, you asked what the handheld whiteboard was called. If you just search on Google, mini whiteboard handheld paddle. They're often called paddles. So you can get them. This one has a little thing to put your dry erase marker if it runs out of ink apparently. Right there, but you can get them also, like you can buy like a set of 6 for like $14 for if you have like a big group, like a big group of people in a workshop, and you want them all to have answers and they like how fast they put the answer in the thing. You can use them for that. But in this case, it's kind of handy for this. I would say also a key light. Who's heard of a key light? Quick show of hands. No. I can like show this thing to you guys. It's a little square like photographer light, and it's over here to the right of me. And so I can dial this thing up or down. This is like completely off. That's not good, right? The sun's coming in this way. It changes over the day. Turn it on. I can like vary it too much. And so anyways, you can play with this thing. It's pretty handy. Play with the light. In your laptop bag, I would say a remote clicker is pretty handy to go through slides. So that way you're not tied to where the laptop is and you're just stuck there. You can actually move around in the audience and interact with them, and then click to the next slide and so on as you go. So that's definitely handy, and these things cost nothing. The key light is like $40, so I'd highly recommend that. The stickies and Sharpies, the reason that sounds obvious, but more just any kind of means of enabling people to interact with you. And so different ways to do that. So having them draw an emoji, or draw whatever, or write their thoughts on things you could do better next time in that workshop. Man, just having stickies always ready to go. They're a godsend for great workshops. So lastly, there's a picture of me when I was a lot younger, 2012, I think. Well, that's gray hair. But I'll say the quote that this is a Chad Gillis original. If it feels awkward or scary, that means you're pushing yourself. And that's what we want to do. We want to get better. So try things out. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, try to practice them before the big event, but try things out, learn and grow. So always a pleasure. We can go back to the Menti if you still have it up. Menti poll. So go back to your browser window. What is one thing you want to try in your next presentation? One thing. Could be virtual, could be in person. Tell a story. Good story. Nice. Stories. Pauses. Yes. Variations in tone. Also good. Drawing. Yes. It's so easy. Everyone can do it. Chris, of course, has got to level this up and with his more magic tricks. I know. It's great. Better live drawing visuals for virtual. Yeah. There are some folks that played around with the online stuff, but I sometimes I like just to go in the old school and just draw on a form of a piece of paper and show it to them. That's me. I'm also old. Good modeling story. Because who doesn't love models? I know. I love them. I know Tina does. Number of us are just love our models. Much less reliance on slide content. I know. The slides are not the boss. You're the one telling the story. Yeah. The pull and plant. How they pull you towards them. Plant. Make your point. Make your eye contact. That's a great community. Always a pleasure. Good seeing you all. Hope to see you in the next webinar. Take care. Be safe. Use these techniques as much as you can.
Thanks,
And
everyone.
last thing, bring your fists in to the cam right now. I want to see a bump from everybody.
Mhm.
Bumps, bring the bumps in. Nice. All right. Good work, everybody. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.